Okay.
Lo'u. Lo'u.
Okay, let me see.
Oahu. Yeah, fun.
Lo'u.
La'u.
Say Ola'u. And then I think I heard A'u and I heard La'u. So I heard that and I heard this. And then what comes after? I'll just leave both of them up for now just so that we can talk about it.
A'u mea whaingaluanga.
Yep, mea whaingaluenga, mea whaingaluenga. Okay. And same for down here. So Oa'u, mea whaingaluenga. Okay, so this is my oh wait, I did also hear Lo'u. So I'll just put that on here just to Lo'u. And then I'm assuming it was gonna be whaingaluenga here too. All right, so Ola'u mea whaingaluenga means what?
One tool. My
One
tool.
One tool, like, and a little bit more. I'm sorry.
Singular, sorry.
Right, it's singular, and then there's one more element. There's a lot packed into these limiters. So there's one more thing missing.
I have control over it. It's A class. I don't know.
Right. It's A class, but like if we were to translate it out, Ola'u mea whaingaluenga means my. Yep. So it is my tool. You did say singular, so it's my tool, my singular tool, as opposed to this one is
My tools.
my tools. Yeah. So this is my tools. So the L makes it singular. So just remember that when we say Ola'u mea whaingaluenga, that's my singular tool. It's my tool. But if you want to go to my whole toolbox, then I would refer to it as Oa'u mea whaingaluenga. Like those, it's my tools, right? And then if we say Lo'u, it means my tools, but it's, it's an O class thing. So O class is kind of like things you would revere, irreplaceable things. Like tools, typically wouldn't fall into that category unless you are like, if you're using wordplay, for example, and you want to say they're just so great, so that's another way that you can play with the words in the Samoan language is by making something O class that really technically wouldn't be O class. So it means my tools, but you more than likely wouldn't use Lo'u. Like you probably wouldn't hear people say Lo'u. You would talk about, I guess we'll go to this example down here. How would we say our 3+ inclusive God?
Lo macho. Oh, sorry.
Le tato.
Oh, lo tato.
Atua.
Atua.
Olitato. Yep, Olitato. And
Atua.
then Atua. So and we learned this way right here. That's like the common way. A lot of people say it like that. But if we were to use like in Tusipaia, they would say like this. So there is an A class and an O class with this, so it would be like Olo Tato Atua. So this is the way you would see it like in Tusipaia. But when you hear people speaking in conversational Samoan when they're doing like personal possessive stuff, they would say le. Whether it's A class or O class, they don't even recognize it. A lot of people, they'll just say, Oletato Atua. So it's our God. But technically there would be, if you see something and this is just for your reference, we're not going to focus too much on this because even when I posted the difference between lo tato or lo mato and la, which would be o la tato. What's something that we would say o la tato for? Really any A class thing, so we wouldn't say o la tato atua because God is like over and above. It's out, God is out of our control, so and it's something, a possession that can't be replaced. It's to be revered. So it's a lot higher respect. So we wouldn't say that. But again, we're not going to focus too much on this. But I just wanted to point out that difference because there is A class and O class with, you know, with our, you know, so o lo tato or lo mato, you know, and that sort of thing. So we're gonna, so we got this one done. O le tato atua, great. Their work, their work. So it's three or more people. How do we say that one? Their singular work. So,
Lato, Ngalawa,
oh, yeah, olato, olato, oh, I'm sorry. You said olelato? Or,
Olato, Ngalawa,
yeah, oh, okay, you said olato, olato, ngalu, enga. Okay, yeah, I guess in conversation, it could be either or, but it's kind of, if we say olato, ngaluenga, it's more so like their works, like, because this isn't a singular thing. To make it a singular, like their one work, like this is they made this mural or something like that, then it would be like olelato ngaluenga. So this is like their singular work, and this is like their works. That's, you know, their you know, like if they did a whole bunch of different kind of work. Okay, and then this is down. Oh, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to stop me at any time.
You don't drop the L on that one to make it plural works?
No. You mean for the lato?
Yeah,
No, because lato itself is a word. So we wouldn't change that. To make it singular, it's gonna be olelato, like that.
so the lame is what makes it singular then?
Right. The lato, that's just the word. Whereas up here, and I see what you mean by that. With lau, that, you know, it just functions that way, where it's lau, and then we drop the L to make it you know, to make it plural. Whereas lato never changes. You actually add the limiter in front of here. So it's like that. So ole lato, or it's just gonna be olato. So
Okay.
I never even thought about that. That is, I see why you would say that. That's okay. That's great. I'm glad you said that. I'll make sure to bring that up. Some of my money. This one is kind of a trick question. That's why it's the last one. It's kind of like a bonus because we didn't talk about this one. So, does anyone remember the word for some in Samoan? It's a limiter. It's also a limiter. Ni. Yep. So we have ni, and then we're just gonna do it piece by piece. So we have it's some, and then or if you know the whole thing, you can just say it all the way out. Some of my money. So what will we say after this one? A'u, yeah, a'u. So a'u. So it's a plural version of, and then
Coupe?
what's that?
I don't know.
Kupe, yep. Onia'u kupe or onia'u tupe. So it's some my plural money. So some of my money. So great. That's good. So yeah, you guys did great on that. So some of my money. So if does anyone have any questions on how we put these possessive limiters together? And you guys will be using this a lot because, you know, you're always going to be talking about your stuff. So I wanted to make sure we went over that. Okay, let's go back up here. And does anyone have number, actually, whichever one, because we didn't have much, I didn't give you guys much time, to be fair. So just anyone that you did, you can just blurt it out. If not, I'll just pick one and we'll talk about it. Okay, let's start at number one. So Fatmatala means to explain, right? So how would we put this in Samoan? Just a simple sentence structure.
Oh, lo'o fa'amatala le tene akamai. I don't remember. That's one.
Olo'o fa'amatala le tene Atamai. Yep, that's awesome. Great. So just in case anyone is lost, I guess you can't see that. So olo'o, that is our tense. And all of these are pretty much going to follow the same. We're just trying to really get used to this format. So olo'o, fa'amatala is our action. Remember, it's going to be tense, action, and then we have our subject after that. So our subject is letene. So letene is the girl, okay? But then we have a specific type of girl, and she's smart. So you could say atamai, or you could say poto, or letene poto, letene atamai. This is great right here. So remember the adjective or the word that describes the noun is going to come after, which is, the opposite in English. So this is one of those things that takes getting used to. Olo'o fa'amatala letene atamai. Olo'o fa'amatala letene atamai. So, all right. So all of this here is our subject. Tense, action, subject. So that's our format. Let's do a few more. Anyone that you guys want to, not sure if you guys would bounce around or you went in order.
Olea Fai Poipo.
Oh, yep. Keep going.
Letama.
Yep. We could say, oops. So olea, fa'a, ipo, fa'a ipo. You say le tama, okay, or le tama loa. We'll take any one of those. It's fine. Okay. Thank you for that. We'll get to that one in just a second. So olea fai puipo le tama or tama loa. So the guy's gonna get married, the man's gonna get married. But this is basically it right here. So we have our that's our tense. This is a future tense, to marry. So if it's a future tense, to marry, it's gonna be will marry the man or the guy. Okay. All right. Olea fai puipo le tama. Oh wait, there was one in the comments. I said, okay, okay, so that is, which one is that? That's gonna be number 6. So let me just copy what Anaka put down there. All right, number 6. All right, so that's great. We have our tense, olea, and then we have amata is to start, and then we have the doctor, lefomai. So the doctor will start.
Mark.
Okay, so we'll start the doctor. The doctor will start. Great. Any others? Anybody else? Guess we'll do one more and then we'll move on to make sure that we get some more concepts down this week. I guess let me pick a different tense marker.
Sa Tatala. No, Sa Tatala.
Sa Tao Tao. Okay, let's do that one. And then Anaka said 5 or 8. So Sa Tao Tala. So this is number 4. So Sa Tao Tala. And then
Lefaionga.
Lefayaonga. Exactly. So we have our tense is past tense and it's tautala, and it's a specific kind of past tense because the action was still going on. So I took you back in time and I said the teacher was speaking. So sa tautala, and then who was speaking? Lefayaonga. That's our subject. Great. So the other one was number 5. So okay, this is good. We'll do 5 and 8, Anaka. Okay, so anyone know number 5?
Sa fa mangalo lona tina.
Longa tina, yeah. Longa tina. Now the only difference between this one is and people, like I said, they use them interchangeably all the time. We're just being sticklers in the class just so that people will know. So the difference between 4 and 5 is that the teacher was speaking. It's also in the past, but the action was going on. But on this one is the mother forgave. So it's kind of like we said that the action is over and done. So it's instead of sa,
Na.
Nah, instead of, yeah. So that's the difference between sa and na. But like I said, people use them interchangeably all the time. And you know them, you know what they're saying through the context of their conversation. So, but just like I said, for the purpose of this class, that would be the difference between sa and na. Okay. And then let's do number 8 and then we'll move on. Ma'alama.
Where's what?
Lona.
E malama lama le tama.
Yep, lama le tama. And just pretend this has a mama over it to mean father. So, and that's exactly it. It's going to be our tense, and then this is going to be our action is lama is to understand, and then we have le tama. So the father understands. Great job, great job. Let me see. No questions. All right. If I know this might be the first day for some of you guys. We'll do a catch up, or like if you just have questions, we'll do something on Sunday. I normally do it around 1 or 2 o'clock my time, so that's like 11 a.m. or noon in California, and it's sometime Monday in Australia for you guys, in New Zealand for you all that's over there. Okay. So, but again, if you have questions, you can ask them in class or after class. Okay, so we don't stay long on this because this is basically what we just finished doing. We did our tense, our action, our subject. Now this is when we have one subject. This is when we have one subject. So so we'll walk the girl or the girl will walk. All right, so we know how to put all of these together. All right. Now remember this. We're gonna always come back to these kind of English statements that we did in the first week of class, just so that we can see in English how it's put together. So we did this one already today, like the boy closed. How would we say this in English? How would we say this in Samoan sentence structure in English? Close.
Close the boy.
Right, close the boy. Right, and then so his president will veto. How about that one?
Will veto his president.
Will veto his president. Right. So it sounds you know, to first time English, like English speakers hear that, like, will veto, the president's gonna get vetoed. No, it's the president will veto. So tense, action, and then our subject is his president. Okay, how would we say the boy and the girl closed? And I think, yeah, this is, okay, so this is our new, this is us introducing a new thing. It's not really new because you kind of know it already. We have 2 subjects and we connected the 2 subjects with the ma, and then we have our action. So how would we say this in English?
Closed the boy and the girl.
Exactly, closed the boy and the girl. So let me write this one out since this is new. Close, so it's a past tense close, and then close the boy and the girl. So this is something a little bit new that we're doing today. How about his president and the VP will veto?
Will veto his president and the VP.
Will veto his president and the VP. All right, great. And this is going to be exactly the way that we stated in Samoan, right? So now here's another one, a little bit more different. Yep. I'll come back. That's a great question. I'll come right back to that, Anaka. Okay. So the boy closed the door. How do we say that one?
The door closed the boy.
Well, that's close the door. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay.
Close the door, the boy.
Closed
Close the door.
the door, the boy. Okay. And then how will we say this one?
Will veto the bill his president.
Yeah, will veto the bill his president. Okay.
Samoan in English is very Yoda-ish. Huh?
Right. It's kind of flipped. So I always think about how my uncle talks. Well, when he first came here, this is how he would say, yeah, close the door, the boy. we'll veto, well, they didn't talk about veto and stuff, but it'll be like, this sounds more like close the door of the boy. And you're like, what? This, but that's, if you can think like that and make that a regular thing, as an English speaker, and you get used to that, then it's like, oh, okay, now I know how to put the Samoan sentence together easier. So that, at least that was my methodology for learning, is to put things in this kind of way right here, because this is it word for word how pretty much it's said in Samoan. The only thing that we have to add now are the little their markers that we have to put. For example, hopefully everybody has those concepts. I'll come back to what you said, Anaka, because it's actually part of the lesson. So I'll come back to that in a moment. All right, so we have our tense, action, and then two subjects, which this might be a question right here. Let me see. Sakapungi, Olikama, Olikeni. Okay, actually, should I talk about that right now? So closed. Okay, yeah. Let's get to this right here before we go. Yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about it now. Let me get the whiteboard. So this was the question. If I can get it up. Okay, so we have Sakapungi. So this is like was closing, or was closing, and then the boy and the girl. So we have to put this is kind of jumping a little bit, so basically this is was closing. I'll put the by so and then basically what we're trying to say is the boy and the girl close the door, right? So this is just I'll put so closed the door, and then we have olekama ma olekenya. So just to answer your question, I don't want to get too deep because I don't want to lose anybody. We don't need these O's, okay? Only because these are coming after the action, okay? And the action has its own, I'm sorry, coming after the action of kapumi. The action already has a tense marker. These O's are tense markers for the noun, okay? So if we wanted to just say the boy and the girl, then we would say olekama ma. We wouldn't even have to say that one, because this O is going to carry all the way through for both subjects, for both nouns. Olekama malekenye, oletama maletene. Okay, so that O carries for both of them. We don't have to say oletama ma oletene. That's just if we have the subjects. But if we have if they're coming after our action, so this is our action phrase. Nakapungi lefaikakoa. And then we don't need any of these O's here, because they're, like I said, they're tense markers for subjects. Here's our tense marker. That tense marker now, the action tense marker carries all the way through. So nakapungia lefaikakoa lekama malekeni. Yeah, so it carries all the way through. Okay, and we'll have more because this question actually jumps a little bit, so we'll revisit this. I don't want anybody to feel confused by that, but we'll revisit that. Okay, malo. All right, so let me figure out how to get out of this. Okay, we're getting better. There we go. All right, so again, we have two subjects, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. We connect them both with the ma. So remember, like, even if we took out the tense and the action, and we have two subjects, we would say oletama maletene, oletama maletene. All right, so we would have that, and we wouldn't need, if this wasn't here, it would be oletama maletene, and that O carries all the way through for both subjects. Okay, but now we have a magical thing happens with our tense marker. We have a tense for our action, and this is going to carry all the way through. Okay, for the mathematical thinkers here. So that na carries all the way through. We don't need any of these O's. We don't need an O there. We don't need an O there. So now we just say natusi letama moletene.
And
Yep, so it just carries all the way through. And we connect both subjects with the ma. All right. So let's go to, let me just show. So that's kind of like this one, the boy and the girl closed. So like na tapunia le faitotoa le tama moletene. So that's pretty much the same thing. So the boy and the girl closed, or closed the boy and the girl. Now look at this. Wrote. So na tusi is to write. Na tusi is past tense right, or wrote. So wrote the boy and the girl. Wrote the boy and the girl. You see how that's word for word, like just like this in terms of sentence structure. So wrote the boy and the girl. Natusi letama moletene. Okay. Again, stop me if you have any questions. Same thing here. I guess the reason why I made this slide was because we're using pronouns. So remember, after the action, there's a certain set of pronouns. All right. Oi is you. Au is me or I. Itaua, imato, all of that list of pronouns that we talked about. We wouldn't say, let me use the other pronouns because someone did ask this. The other way to say I is o. Okay, we wouldn't say it after the action. The other way to say oi before the action, I'm sorry, it would be e. So, but we wouldn't say it here. We wouldn't say natusi e ma'o, because that's those pronouns are used before the action. So if you don't know what I'm talking about and you only know oi and a'u right now, that's great. I was just kind of answering this for someone who asked me earlier, so I didn't know if anyone else had this question. But there's two sets of pronouns. Some that you say before the action, which would be these, and then the ones that you say after the action. So the ones that you say after the action are already here in bold print. Oi and a'u, natusi oi, ma'a'u. So you and I wrote. You and I wrote. Okay. So let's get out of there. All right, and these are, I forgot I made this one. So these are all the pronouns that come after the action. A'u, oi, o'ia, ima'ua, ita'ua, olua, ila'ua, imato, itato, oto, and ilato. All right. And these ones right here with the imato, a lot of times, imato, itato, ilato, ila'ua, ita'ua, ima'ua, people, they'll drop the E. It's not uncommon for them to drop these in conversational Samoan. But these are all the ones, again, that you say after the action. Okay, our action is tusi. Okay, so we say these after. All right, now we have a sort of a different one here. So remember our example. Hopefully I'm not making y'all dizzy going back and forth. So this one, the boy closed the door. We have two subjects, okay? But one subject is doing the action to another subject, okay? Is doing it to another subject. So here we have closed the boy the door. That's what we said for our translation. We had closed, so past tense closed the door, the boy.
the boy.
Right. So and in Samoan we could also say, if we were to translate it, we can also say closed the boy the door. All right. Now, what do we see here? We see two subjects, right? And then if we say them in any kind of way, it means the same thing, kind of. In the Samoan language, there's a way that we know, did the door close the boy or did the boy close the door? Okay, so that's the what we need to pull out of this slide right here. So we have an indicator that lets us know who did what. Was it the boy that did the action, or was it the door that did the action to the boy. All right, where is it at? Okay. So the way that we figure out who did the action, so in this case we have the boy wrote the paper. How would we say that for like the English, the uncle way? How would our uncle say the boy wrote the paper? And they just learned English.
Wrote the paper, the boy,
Wrote the paper,
the boy.
the boy. Right. And then if they, they probably would also say wrote the boy the paper. Either one. They probably say either one. Because in the Samoan language, you could switch it up like that, and there's kind of no difference. However, in the Samoan language, we're gonna pick who did what. Did the paper wrote the boy, or did the boy wrote the paper? And this is how we figured that out. Someone said so. Satusi elitama lepepa. Exactly. So what we do, I'll just put what Naka wrote. All right. So just like I said, just being a stickler, we'll use this one because it's past tense, wrote, and not was writing. But like I said, they use it interchangeably all the time. So natusi, so we have wrote, and then we have the boy, and then we have the paper, the pepa. The way that we know who did the action is with the e. This it's like a I know people might mistake it for like a verb tense marker, but this is how we identify who does the action when there's two subjects and one is doing the action to the other. So the boy, the paper. Since the boy is the one that wrote the paper, we mark it with the e, with the e. So natusi eletama lepepa. And because we also that we have this e, we can take the whole thing. Let me take that, and then we'll say we can switch it around and say natusi lepepa eletama. You see how that works? So because we have that, we know who did the action. You can say it either way that you want. I know someone might ask, like, which way is preferred. I really don't know. It's I hear people say either way. I think a lot of English speakers say it this way, not English speakers, but people that are learning the language, because it's kind of like almost like the English way to do it. So Natusi wrote the paper by the boy, as opposed to wrote by the boy the paper, So, but you can say it either way, Natusi eletama lepepa or Natusi lepepa eletama, whichever one makes sense to you or you get comfortable with. Okay. Let's see, any questions on this part? All right. So, okay. This is basically, I guess I already explained all of these already. So, Natusi eletama lepepa or Natusi lepepa eletama. All right. Now here's something a little different. All right, so now we're going into well, actually, I'll make it like a trick question. So Natusi letama yoani. Does anyone know what this means?
John,
Yep. So we have John, and then how about the whole sentence? So
Natusi letama yoane.
John wrote.
Yep. And then the rest of it?
The boy.
The boy. Okay, so John wrote the boy. All right, so we have the two subjects here, and this is going to be a little bit different. So it's like John wrote, and the action is going to Yoane or the boy. Either one. It could be either. So this second subject, or one of these subjects, is actually a location phrase. So now we're talking about a different. Let me pull up the whiteboard. So all of this time so far, we've been talking about tense, action, subject. Today, we also introduced tense, action, and two subjects. This time, what we're doing here is we're talking about tense, action, subject. And although this one, the second one is a subject, it's a different kind of subject. It's going to be a location, okay? Because the action is it's a different kind of action where the it's going to somebody. If I run to the store, okay, or like I write to Yoange or Yoange writes to me, the action is going to somebody, okay? If I walk somewhere, so it's if I walk to the park, two subjects, it's me, Oa'u, and then the park, the paka. So the action is going to, like the park is there, I can't do nothing about the park, the action is going there to it. So let's talk about this new type of subject. Here we go. All right, so it's a location. And with locations, we introduce every location with one of these, a preposition. And I don't really like getting into all of these like academic terms, but it's kind of what it's called. I don't know what else, but like yeah, when we talk about what do you call these things? Proper nouns. Proper nouns, we would introduce the location with a ya. So in this case, we're saying natusi letama, which is the boy wrote to Yoange. So the boy wrote to Yoange. So the action of tusi or natusi goes to Yoange. If we wanted to make it to the boy, we would say natusi Yoange ya I'm sorry, iletama. So it's a different kind of preposition. So when we're talking about proper nouns, we introduce them with this kind of preposition. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different ones, like ilunga o, ilalo o. E is the main one that we talk about for common nouns. So let me just write both of them out real fast. And this is mainly like an introduction to Samoan prepositions. Where is it at? So if we say natusi letama, and then if the boy wrote to Yoange, then it's gonna be ya, and just imagine that with the muff over it, Yoange. Okay, so I'm sorry, the boy wrote, and then I'll just put it like this, to John. Okay, now if we say it the other way, if we say natusi Yoange, and then we have I'll just make a space, letama. If it's going to letama, common nouns, common locations, common noun locations are introduced with this, just that. That's all it is. It's an E. Okay. So I don't want to introduce too much stuff today because we kind of went over a lot. So ya would be for proper nouns like names and stuff like that. And then all common nouns, tama, tene, you know, I don't know, whatever common noun you can think of, wrote the dog, whatever, it's gonna start with an E. Okay. So let me go back to, all right, so here are some Samoan prepositions. And when we start back on next week, we're gonna do this whole lesson, not the whole lesson, but just the location part. We're gonna start the location as if we were starting it from scratch, because it's like a long time, really. It seemed like from Thursday to Tuesday. So E, again, we use it for a common noun. So if I say olo'omoe, anyone know what olo'omoe mean? Olo'omoe?
Going to sleep.
Sleeping, right? Sleeping. So he or she was sleeping, and then here's our location. So we have
Sleeping in the room.
in the room, right? So he or she was sleeping in the room. All right. Olo'omoe o ia i le potu. All right. So even though potu or room is a subject, and this is a subject, this is a different kind of it's a location because we have this preposition. Whenever you see a preposition like that, followed by the subject, all this whole thing is our location. So that's why we treat it a little bit different. So olo omoe, oia, ilipotu. All right. She was sleeping in the room. All right. Again, proper nouns, names. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, proper nouns, names, months are gonna be with the ya. All right. So this should have that should have the maf over it. So na tusi letama ya yoane. All right. So this is how we introduce our location with proper nouns. All right. So our tense, action, subject, and yes, yoange is a subject. But since we put it in this bracket right here in this phrase, it's our location. So our location of natusi is yoange. Our location of olo omoe is ilipotu, in the room. All right. Now, when singular, this is in books and stuff like that, but I hear people not really observe, this rule all the time. So it's yate, yate. So it's saying like singular pronouns. So like oia, yate ia. So natusi letama yate ia. Ote alofa yate oe. I know you guys heard that one. So I love to you. So it's you is a singular pronoun. So that's where the yate come from. But you might hear people say ya alofa ya oe. But from everything I read and the studies, and they'll say like it's supposed to be yate, so alofa yate oe, okay. But I've also heard and even seen like in the Tusi Paia where they say like yate I mato. So mato is a plural pronoun, right? But they'll say yate I mato. So I'm just putting this out there. You might hear it either way. You might hear yate ia. So this is our location. So yate, like to, so wrote the boy, or the boy wrote to her. Okay. You might hear people say natusi letama yaia. You might hear something like that. So I'm just throwing that out there in case you're like, that's not what they said in class. It's just like that. So okay, so this is the last slide on here, which is great. I always try to end 5 minutes before, but I always go all, take the whole time. Does anyone have any questions? We can talk about your questions for the remaining of the time. If not, I'll see you guys next week. I really appreciate you guys hanging around. This is the critical week. A lot of people feel lost when they come this time, and then they don't show up. They might come the next 8 set of 8 weeks. But yes. So thanks for hanging around. So any questions?
So when does the group meet? Like, I always get like messages about the group, but talks about like the next meetings in October or the next meetings in August.
Oh yeah, so it's